that's going to be our spoiler-free review. Unfortunately, not that great. But now we're going to get into full spoilers. So again, if you have not seen the movie, go see the movie, or don't go see the movie, I guess, if you listen to our non-spoiler review. And then you can come back and listen, because we're going to get deep into spoilers. Okay, so first things first, I think the elephant in the room that we have to address is, really? You had to kill Superman?
We're going to start with that?
Yeah, I think we have to, because that's the big thing. I mean, the death of Superman, like, it's such a crappy...
And the
so
worst part
easy.
about it is he's not dead. That's the worst part. You can't kill Superman because he's one of the main guys in the Justice League, right? And they show at the very end, right before credits, he's not dead. Right. They spend so much time.
But why even introduce Doomsday at all, first of all, in this movie?
It was a bad choice.
It was a bad choice. But Doomsday, when they introduce him, they have to introduce the death of Superman, because that was the big deal with Doomsday.
Yeah, but I don't think fans know that.
They just did it so that they could have these
check
frames from these comic books.
Oh, that's like a checkoff list, like a big comic checkoff list. Doomsday kills Superman. Check.
Right. And if you look at some of the frames, like where they're doing what do they call those? The grave scene at the end, funeral. When they're doing the funeral and they pull the flag up and it's the gray Superman. I mean, that is exactly a frame from the comic
familiar,
book.
Yeah.
And there's several instances at that end scene, and I was just like, God, is this movie ever going to end?
It's just those boxes, yeah. And I think you were mentioning the same thing. I was mentioning the same thing. It's like,
there's no consequences.
Will not end, yeah.
No, well, that, and then there's just no consequences. Again, this movie has such a big problem with consequences. Nothing happens in this movie.
Yeah, nothing matters.
Nothing matters. I mean,
no. What happens at the very end of the movie is Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman all meet up. That's what happens.
No, okay. So, all right, now we'll get back to addressing the Superman problem, dying, but he's obviously not going to die. But well, let's jump. I just wanted to address that.
Do the 4?
No, that's what I was actually thinking. I'm like, that would be interesting. Do the 4. You have the actual Steel.
Yeah, the Man of Steel.
You have Superboy.
Right.
You have the Superman that's like the futuristic.
The cool guy with the glasses.
Yeah.
What do you mean do the 4?
Okay, after Superman died, there was this run of comic books that essentially created 4 different it was like alternate realities,
or not in the same universe.
Well, no, it was the same universe. It was like the death of him created these 4 other super
on the
characters.
same Earth.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was in the same. It was before the 52. It was way before that.
Wait. This is back in the early 90s, yeah. But I thought, that would be interesting. Like, that's a really bold choice, but of course they're not going to do that.
They can't do that.
No, they can't, and it's just silly. But okay, so what do you want to start with, Gerald? Since I really just wanted to address that, because I was like,
for one, this is the longest Chrysler commercial I've ever seen.
There is a ton of Chrysler.
From him driving the Jeep at the beginning, which, by the way, if everyone's seen the stupid Super Bowl Renegade commercial, the Jeep Renegade, it's the same cut from the movie. And I remember watching that commercial with you and being like, oh, this is a fun little commercial. There's no way Bruce Wayne would drive a Jeep Renegade.
He does.
He does. And there's Chargers, there's Challengers, there's Chrysler 200 all throughout the whole movie. It's stupid.
I want to say with the opening sequence, though, I do like the opening sequence
he's like going in when everyone else is running away.
Yeah, I like the idea of Batman running in and the little girl and saving the guy's legs. Like, it all pays off narratively.
I think they could have done it in a better way with a flashback instead of that being the introduction of the thing and then just being like 18 months later.
Yeah, I didn't enjoy that.
Later. No, it's completely stupid. It didn't feel like a complete thought. It just felt like I'm thinking this. Like, it felt like it was still on a drawing board and they were just they're like, oh yeah, this will be the first scene. Okay, this will be the second scene. It didn't feel like a story that was being told at all.
But it creates Batman's motivation too.
Yeah, but you can share Batman. We all know who Batman is. And everyone in that theater knows who Batman is. Everybody knows he's a good guy, vigilante, blah, blah, blah. We could have gone through a couple scenes that made some sense and then flash back to this event where once he sees Superman flying by and then it flashes back to this time. And it would have made some kind of just made sense. It just would have flowed. There was zero flow at the beginning of the movie. I got bored like an hour and a half in.
So I feel Man of Steel too.
And I was getting tired and I just said, screw it. I just went to sleep.
I can't believe you fell asleep.
I just went to sleep and then I woke up and Batman and Superman were fighting and I was like, okay, this is what I came for. I finished it out for that. But I didn't care. I was just like, this is.
But you saw the first part, the first scene with Batman and that was a cool scene. I thought the scene where he's like
How are the bats making him fly?
Okay.
David and I looked at each other. I'm like, what
there's a couple WTF moments in this movie that I was just like.
There were bats apparently creating enough wind. There was enough bats.
Lifting child Bruce Wayne,
he mentioned
80-pound child.
He mentioned something. I think he says it's something about a dream. This is the problem. Zack Snyder's movies generally, and I have this movie confirmed it. you take your movies way too serious. Like this movie at times when they're having dialogue, I'm like, this sounds like it's a superhero movie, man. Like, it's not Schindler's List. Like, you do not need to make every single utterance of a syllable just
have meaning,
dark and brooding.
Yeah, it's just like, there's a part in the very beginning. Again, we're in spoilers. The part with Superman is in the bathtub. He comes home and he's like, I didn't kill anybody. And it's just, she's like, I know. And like, he gives her, and he's just like looking at her and so intent. I'm like, this is not what I'm looking for. Right. Like, I'm not looking for Superman. Here's the thing. I appreciate the internal struggle of Superman having to deal with the idea, like they talk about in the movie. It's a real interesting, like, you don't get to choose to be we get to choose if you're a hero. Like, you're not a god. I actually like that story. Like, we didn't ask for you. Thank you, but we didn't ask for you. And maybe, and this is the whole motivation with Batman, maybe we shouldn't, and she even says it. But again, there's a part when she's talking in Congress, the senator from Kentucky, it's just so ham-fisted. It's like, here's the exact thing I want you to think, with just saying what I want you to think. And it's just like, you can deliver that in a way that is not so on the nose. But this, again, the movie suffers from subtlety. There is no subtlety in this movie.
Nope.
Because they're going so fast. This movie is so fast. They don't have time
to be subtle.
They jump out. Okay.
Oh,
and then
not for our stupid audiences here.
I don't know if it's necessarily a stupid thing. It's just, if we had to, cover our full entire thoughts of the Batman movie in 15 minutes, we would be jumping back and forth and not talking about the same things.
And like I said, if you were reading a comic book, that is kind of how it goes. Right. You turn the page and now you're in Egypt. And you're, you know what I mean? And it's got some scenes and you do the Egypt storyline and then you turn the page and you're in New York and you get some scenes. And I wonder if you watch it with that frame of mind, if it would make more sense or at least be more enjoyable. But here's my question. Kryptonite was found on the bottom of the Indian Ocean, but the people that found it were using snorkels.
Kryptonite is not poisonous to humans, right?
No, I know, but how far? They were like, it was at the bottom of the Indian Ocean.
Oh, no,
that's something that's pretty deep.
I think they were just being dramatic about it.
Yeah, it wasn't that far down.
It was just like some kids just pulled it up.
Dug it up, yeah.
And they just broke it off. Okay, they broke it off, and then Batman has to use superpowered lasers to cut it into something.
I guess, and I don't like the whole storyline where the senator is blocking his import of the mineral, and he just does it anyway. It's like, again, why did all that matter?
No consequences.
Oh. Yeah, why did all that matter?
No consequences.
His strong talking to her in his house, none of that mattered.
Okay, so at one point, Batman shoots the tracker on the boat, and then they blow up everything on the boat, and then except for the one piece that stays.
Oh,
with
the truck, right? The truck,
yeah, the truck. I'm just like, come on.
That's another thing I want to... Yeah, we got to address this.
Batman kills people in this movie,
he
guys.
Does.
Yeah,
he very much kills people. And I remember the trailer was he's smashing people's heads on the concrete. Well, I mean, that guy's probably dead, at least paralyzed. It's like, no, he shoots guns and kills people
and runs people over.
There's no doubt.
Yeah, it's brutal, man.
And this is the thing about it. Again, this comes back to the idea of no consequences. One of the few things Batman has, he has one rule, right? And that's the thing that's interesting between Superman and Batman. Superman is, and I talked to you about this earlier, Superman is what always makes the right decision, is the best of all of us. Boy Scout. He is the best of all of us, and that's why you don't like him, right? Batman is the means always justify the ends. I will do whatever it takes.
Except killing people.
And if you remove that, then he's
I mean, I wouldn't say he never kills people.
No, but I'm saying that's his one. I mean,
Joker
traditional
Batman 92.
Right. Okay. Stop. You know what I'm talking about. As a general audience rule to people in movies, we've been trained as this idea that he has one rule. He will do anything but kill you.
And I don't mind. I was mentioning that before. I like where they took his character. He's branding people now. He's been broken so much where he's just screw these bad people. I don't care if I kill them anymore. But I want to see that movie first. I want to see what brought Batman to that point. Before this movie.
Yeah,
I wish Dan.
Then you're just it's so out of place for him.
Right. I wish Dan was here because he's a big Batman guy. But I remember him talking about Batman used to be a lot darker.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I wonder if this is more kind of a callback to that original Batman that killed and branded and those things.
In the Dark Knight Returns, which is kind of what this version of Batman, the Frank Miller version, he is he's broken. He sees less in humanity, and that is fine. But if he's just going to light up anybody, it's just one of those things where it's again, lack of consequences. When there's, you want the superhero, and this is what they do with Superman. They create, he's a god, but everyone has a weakness, right? And Batman doesn't feel like the only weakness at this point that he has is that he's not Superman.
Right.
You know,
like the part where they blow up the like senator hearing, where
the Capitol building doesn't have bomb sniffing dogs. Give me a freaking break.
But also then like it's
so stupid.
Did that ever come up again?
No, that happened. And like
okay,
the plan was to frame Superman for doing that, but it was never like.
I don't think that's what it was. I don't think it was that.
No, he was just like.
No, I think it was the idea.
Was just like screw you guys.
No, but here's I think, and this is the problem. I see a good idea here, but they don't have enough time to create subtlety for you to understand it. And he says it. He's like, I don't know if it was I didn't see the bomb, because he could clearly see it, or he didn't look for it. But here's the subtlety. He doesn't want to look at, and this is what his dad talked to him about at the top of the mountain, the consequences of saving someone hurts another, right? And the idea, I didn't want to look at the guy, I didn't want to face the consequence that I had because I saved the world. I didn't save this guy's legs. And he doesn't even want to look over there when he has the ability. And that's the subtlety he's trying to say is, I need to learn to face my own demons, realize that I'm not all good, that I can do evil. But those subtleties aren't explored, and that's why he didn't look for the bomb.
Right, I get that, but why did Lex blow up the Capitol building?
To create a scenario that plays up that. To play, well, one,
against Superman. The people against Superman.
Right, and that's, and I'm sure it's, you know, if this is another thing. Okay, so they don't explain this, and it's another thing. Obviously, he learns who Superman is. He learns. That's just given. How did you figure that out?
He just says Clark Kent. It's like, well,
I just don't enjoy when
was a horrible
he saw
bad
past
guy.
the glasses.
Lex Luthor's a horrible bad guy in general, but I think it was done poorly.
I didn't enjoy Jesse Eisenberg's version of this. I don't enjoy the wacko. Like I thought he was gonna play
psychopath mannerisms and stuff.
Yeah, and like
who did it in the first ones? Was it like Kevin Spacey or something?
Kevin Spacey,
Gene
Hackman first, and then
Gene Hackman first. That's the kind of Lex Luthor feel that I.
You want the Playboy
business?
Yeah, that's like a crazy.
It's like a bad Bruce Wayne.
Right. Yeah, that would be awesome. But yeah, this guy was just
and ruthless and doesn't care about other people's, only interested in benefiting himself, whatever benefits himself.
I was reading some reviews and they were like, "Oh, he was doing like his own version of Joker," and I was just like, "I wish he was doing a version of Joker." I was
Might
like,
have
this
been better.
Sucks. Like it was just kind of like I'm weird, I'm confused.
What was
like,
his plan
his
though?
Speech that he
his
gave.
plan was to get rid of the God by using, or killing the Batman, right, with Superman.
No, his idea is he's setting up a scenario where people question whether Superman should be Superman, whether we need a Superman. Right. That's the idea. And then, as a backup plan, he has Bruce Wayne kill him, and then he has this abomination, Doomsday. So he has like multiple plans.
Yeah, what was his plan if Doomsday won?
What do you mean?
If Doomsday killed Superman, what was his plan?
Well, his idea, I think, again, this isn't explained, but I think he has some type of power over Doomsday because it's blood of my blood.
Oh, that's stupid. They
don't explain that.
It's like, what's his plan?
He's just a bad guy.
What's
his
end game here? Yeah.
Right, and like, okay, so a couple things I wanted to talk about with generally with Batfleck. I like the costume. The costume looks great. I also enjoyed the fact that they shot him in the head and he just shook it off. Like
I like that they explained his voice at the very beginning of the movie. They're like, "Oh, voice modulator. That's what makes my voice sound stupid."
And I like that. I actually like that his voice is different because they don't want to do the Christian Bale thing, right? But they don't want to make him talk like Ben Affleck. So they got to give him something a little bit more brooding, a little bit more scary.
I remember seeing that in the trailer and be like, "That's stupid. He sounds like a robot." But I mean, I'm glad they explained it at least.
Yeah. So when you guys say you like his outfit, are you talking about the rubber suit or the armor suit?
His regular
I like
suit
both.
And the armor suit.
I like the armor suit.
Yeah.
The thing about the one thing about this movie that also frustrated me. Again, there's varied things that frustrated me. The heroes in this movie never make the decision that seems the obvious decision. Like Superman should just explain to Batman, like, "Hey, Lex Luthor has my mom, and he sent me to kill you. Like you are like he doesn't do it. Like he continues to fight him. Mm-hmm. Like it's just that thing. And like Batman, there's never. It feels like those two characters are not just brutes. They have brains, right?
Right.
So there would be some back and forth. Like it's just
he immediately concedes to Lex, like, "Yeah, I guess I'll do what you said." It's like
like,
and at the end they're just like, "Oh, well, your mom's name's Martha too." Okay, we're on the same
all
side.
All of our grievances gone.
No,
but you killed dozens of my people. Gone. We have the same mom's name. So dumb.
That was so stupid.
I never caught on to both of their moms' names are Martha. I never picked that up.
I never did either, but it was just the stupidest thing to be like, oh, we're just like each other. Our moms are both named Martha.
And that's why.
And how unoriginal is DC that they made their two main characters have the mom as the same first name.
That's funny, though. I've never, not until this movie, have I realized Martha Wayne and Martha Kent. I never, ever, ever realized
I wonder if that follows true through, like...
all of the books,
canon.
maybe.
I wonder if that's canon.
So, and that's the other bigger problem in this movie is all the superheroes feel like immediately jump to violence. Immediately.
Yep.
Like, just fight each other. Like, right now.
Well, no, Wonder Woman dresses up in a nice dress and steals stuff.
No, and that's, see, up to that point, I was like, okay, I kind of like where this movie is going. Like, Batman kind of feels like, not, and they make references. This is the thing that makes me so frustrated. This movie actually ham-fists a lot of now movies that will come after it,
right?
Because they talk about, Batman's been fighting crime for 20 years, and it's just like
they show the Robin costume with haha jokes on you, Batman.
Yeah, and now they have to explain it.
Have that movie before this one, because maybe that's the movie that explains why he's such a dick now.
No, it will. It has to. I think Robin dies. They're going to do Death in the Family.
I think it's the Robin turning into the Joker thing because with the Jason Todd,
right?
Because
Death in the Family.
He was saying that how many stay heroes. That little line was
right.
Kind of
but again, the only people who get that are the people who are nerds, and they're going to go see your movie anyways. All you're doing is confusing your audience. There is a bunch of dialogue in this movie, and again, because dialogue is flying at you so quickly, and so many different people are saying important things, because again, the movie feels just fast. There's no time for jokes. Very few jokes. There's
zero. There's a very few, like 2 or 3 jokes in this whole entire movie.
Yeah, and when they are, they're hilarious. Like, I'm a friend of your son's. Oh, I figured the whole cape thing. Like, that's hilarious. Like,
but again, like Marvel is obviously way more humorous, but it just kind of flows into it, but this is just like they have too much. They don't have enough time for that. It's all about serious, like you said, ham fisting. They don't have time for jokes.
It's not the time thing too. To cut things off early, like, okay, so Wonder Woman goes in, okay, so Bruce Wayne steals that information, right? And then Wonder Woman steals it from him.
Right.
And then instead of having any kind of like interesting interaction, she's just like, oh, I left it in your car.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's like, okay, because you ran out of time to really establish anything that would be fun to watch you get this back or
them
do anything
trying
else.
to fight for it or something.
Right. Yeah. It's just like, oh yeah, I just copied it and put it in your glove box.
Yeah.
It's just so stupid and boring.
It's only military stuff. It's not it's not his pictures folder. That's what I really need.
Yeah. And then how long did we sit there and watch this stupid loading thing click forward?
Okay. So
1%.
And
2%.
No, this is where the WTF moment comes. And okay, the first one was the bat thing, which, why do that? All of a sudden, you've just changed the dynamic of
Batman flies now. Is that a thing?
No, no, seriously, because it's a distraction, right? To have no explanation for it is just distracting, because it's like, what? Okay, and then they have this. When he's uploading the thing, he falls asleep.
A dream sequence.
He has a dream sequence out to the desert with these flying wing creatures, and he's fighting people, and he's trying to get the piece of Lex Luthor's, or the kryptonite that Lex Luthor is trying to get. Turns out that he got his guys turned on him.
When he walks up, there's a symbol in the sand, and this is a symbol of Omega, and I guess that's a big thing in the DC universe. That's probably like the Thanos, I'm guessing, of this universe.
That's Darkseid, yeah. Darkseid is the Thanos of that universe. But
they said that Lex says at the very end of the movie, like, they know we're here, they're coming, so I'm assuming that's
there's got to be a bigger
big baddie, right?
Yeah.
Well, and that might actually, the Green Lantern Corps movie, I think is going to be the Guardians of the Galaxy of the DC, so because they're like, Green Lantern, there's like, they cover all the like 2,000 and something sectors
planets,
of the universe, not just planets, sectors,
yeah,
whatever.
Because there's multiple planets in a sector.
Okay,
2 Green Lanterns assigned to each sector. So
darkest night, brightest day. Go ahead.
But I'm just saying that I think that movie will be what introduces Darkseid and those people into coming to Earth for whatever reason it is.
Right. Well, it's another Avengers or it's Marvel thing. They're planting those seeds.
That's
for
fine.
The big thing, which is fine, but no one knows what that symbol is. I had to Google it.
But there's also a couple other things. If you noticed, the guys who were turning on, the guys who were originally helping Batman had
the Superman sign
on there. So it's obviously a future. He's seeing something in the future, is what I see.
Right.
So
Superman's a bad guy because he's always said that. Like, what if he has the power at any time to
there is a whole storyline.
Destroy us?
There's a whole storyline about it.
So that's from an actual thing.
Yeah, where Lois Lane is killed.
Yeah, there's that crazy guy that they don't explain at all who's like...
It's Cyborg. That looks like
Was
Cyborg.
that Cyborg? Wait,
Cyborg who comes through. Cyborg,
in the time jump.
That's
right?
Cyborg.
I didn't know that was
So
Cyborg.
it's
time
a-
traveling Inception because he's like in his dreams.
Right,
Yeah,
so
he's
it's
just like,
the key.
Lois is the key, save Lois.
Right, because there's a whole thing where Lois dies and Superman loses it. Joker kills Lois Lane, and then Superman loses it. He sees no good in
That's something
humanity.
that they're doing. Why seed that in this movie?
Because it's, and this is my point, you're
they don't-
ham-fisting the whole thing.
You don't
Why
need
do
to.
that? You don't need to. You don't need to. You don't need to show us your playbook. Like, you don't need to.
Keep us surprised.
And here's a couple other problems with the movie. Like, they want to, they feel, and again, I'm not a movie guy, but they tease you, and you're like, ooh, and then they just show you. It's like, there's your movie needs to be lingerie, not completely nude. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, and this is, I know that's a weird analogy, but it makes sense in this case. They show you when they pull up the metahumans, right?
Yep.
They show you the Flash symbol, they show you the Aquaman symbol,
Wonder Woman.
they show you all the symbols. That's all we needed.
But then they,
clicked on the files. And
And then they-
everybody's got their own video. Oh,
it's
there's
like-
there's the Flash. There's
like,
freaking
Dude,
Khal Drogo. He's Aquaman. They show everything, and it's none of it. I wrote that down. None of it's necessary.
no, it's
Have the symbols, and then you get the little nerds that are like, ooh, what's that?
like X-Men does it, where they show Hank McCoy on the
Right.
list, or they do, they say Remy LeBeau or whatever
Right.
the Gambit's name, or they do like little things like Thanos turns around at the end of the movie. That's all
Just the
we
tease.
need. Just the tip, okay?
Right.
Just that's all you need to learn, DC. But the problem with this movie is it, like I said, it just feels like it's trying. Zack Snyder already, in my opinion, just has he wants to tell a very impactful narrative in a movie that isn't really asking for it. And sometimes it comes across like there are moments in this movie where it does feel strong and epic. You know, like as much as you guys make fun of the Martha thing, I actually enjoyed that part when he's like, "You got to save Martha." And
Why'd you say that name?
No, but I did.
Why?
I know, but I actually like that.
Why?
I just feel like
never
after all
mind.
the reasons building up, the whole entire movie, why he hates Superman, and just like a name, and that's what this says.
It reminds-
Oh, you're right.
No,
We're
but that's
cool,
not.
bro.
But that's not how it went. It wasn't completely like that.
Yeah,
but
it was.
um,
All he said was her name. What?
But the battle in the desert, going back to that, so obviously this appears that Superman has some kind of army. If this is some type of flash forward future event that's going to happen in these movies, Superman has some kind of vigilante or Batman.
I don't know anything about this, but why? That's another thing. Like, why have any of this in the movie? What does it do? Nothing.
It just seeds future events.
Maybe
But
he
you
was
can
not
explain
looking
that.
into the future. Maybe he was looking at a different dimension. Maybe one
Well,
of the
then
other
it doesn't
52.
matter. Then it doesn't matter. It's a complete waste of time. And it's so out of place. It's not explained. The dialogue's actually difficult to hear when Cyborg's like coming through and saying weird things. It's just, why? The whole time I'm like, the movie's long. It's like 3 hours. And, there's certain parts that whenever I watch a movie now, I'm like, what could be taken out and what should be expanded on? And this is one where I'm like, and the clip when they're showing all the different metahumans like Aquaman, that scene's like 5 minutes long. Like, take it out.
Slowly clicking on each of the video files.
Apparently,
I feel like that scene with the desert was like they wanted to keep that in because they liked the way the trailer went with it. Because it was
They
like,
showed Batman in the jacket, the trench coat.
yeah,
Oh, cool.
it looked cool.
But I like
with
the idea.
glasses in the
But again,
desert and-
I like the idea of Superman losing it. And what do? Like, he's unstoppable. That's a cool storyline. But that's not in this movie, so stop. The only thing it does, the only explanation I can have is it furthers Batman's motivation to
stop
Superman. But he didn't need it. He was he was already doing it. You know what I mean? Like the thing I will say about Ben Affleck, like when he sells Batman pissed off, he does a good
Those
pissed
eyes,
off. He does a good pissed off Batman.
Batfleck eyes.
Like when he's talking, he was like, "There's a 1% chance." We have to take it as an absolute certainty. Like, he sells
He's
it.
a good actor.
No, he is.
Does that make sense?
No, but I don't think Henry Cavill is a bad actor. I don't think Jesse Eisenberg's a bad actor. I just think it's strange decision making for those characters. And again, I don't mind new takes.
Director acting, so it's like.
Well,
Why did they make a kryptonite spear instead of kryptonite bullets? or like a kryptonite batarang.
It's called the comic book, man. I mean, that's just, it's
I'm just
dramatic.
saying, like, I know, but like, okay, there's a cartoon where Batman makes all the things to stop everybody, and one of the things he makes is like kryptonite bullets to stop Superman. It's like
the smoke grenades.
Why do you? Yeah, that was cool.
But why stop there?
But why? Yeah, but then he's like, I'm gonna make smoke, so I can take kryptonite and grind it up into a smoke that I can get him to inhale.
The other problem,
but then the other one I have to use this brute force spear.
It's more symbolism, right?
Yeah,
but I guess the problem that I also have in this movie is. Again, I feel like I keep crap, and I was super excited about this movie.
I know you were.
Which says a lot. It has to do with, Batman. He starts to get to the point where I'm like, you're motivated. They could have subtlety could have explained this because I guess Alfred kind of explains. He's like, hey, like when you start feeling powerless, that's when you start doing things that are real cruel, and when he starts pulling him. Superman on that wire, and then he swings him around and he talks about something about his parents dying. Again, the dialogue was all over the place, but he says something about how he feels like something was taken from him, and I'm like, Superman had nothing. Like, now you're moving on to the borderline of like, you're a dick, like just for the sake of like, you're frustrated with your life. Like, it's just, it's such a strange
place to take it.
Yeah, and the one thing about this movie that is,
you keep saying the one thing.
I know,
There's a lot of things.
A lot of one things. This movie is dark both in tone and in lighting. There is no light.
Right.
This movie is so dark.
Sun. Where's the sun at?
Oh my god!
That's what I was actually thinking. I was like, well, how is Superman even have any strength?
You're like, where's the sun?
Right? How does he have any strength at all? That
no, it's just the whole movie is in at night. The whole movie, like every shot is dark. It's just like you can't. And I get Man of Steel was Kansas cornfields, and you had New York.
Even during the Battle of Metropolis, there was all lighttime. So
yeah. I don't understand why this movie, a lot of it, I mean, we were in a decent theater, but it was just like, there's parts I'm like, what's going on? I can't see anything.
Taking it back to some other things. So, like, during the Doomsday fight, the guy tells the president, like, hey, this is an enemy that gains power from what we do. And then he's like, oh, launch a nuke. Like,
no, but that was before. They shot the nuke. But again, no consequences.
Yeah.
Superman gets shot with a nuke. Looks like he's dead. They actually show a shot of him like, holy crap, like Superman died. I was like, wow, that was, again, a bold choice. That's cool. So go with that.
And one of the shots of the sun we see, or the light
and then
of
immediately,
the sun, and then he's fine.
No consequences. No consequences. Like, and they launch a nuke. They have the idea of a nuke, and they launch a nuke, and it goes off within, what, a minute?
Yeah.
Like, launching a nuclear weapon should be a big deal in your movie. Huge deal. There should be deliberation. There should be people sweating. People saying, no, don't do it.
See, I'd be upset if there was all a build-up and it still did nothing.
No, but that's, again, no, but that's a bigger problem.
10 minutes building up to this nuke.
Right, but that's my point. There's no consequences.
Yeah,
that's a bigger problem. But I'm saying you launch a nuke, it goes off, and the only person who gives any subtlety to how crazy that is, even if it is in space and there's no casualties, I'm pretty sure, even if you shot a nuke off in space, there might be some
fallout and stuff.
Yeah,
maybe.
Or something. Like, I'm not a physicist, but I'd say I don't think it's nothing changes on this planet. You know what I mean?
Why did you get blown back to the Earth when that explosion was under them? Wouldn't it launch?
I don't know. It doesn't. That part I'm not too worried about. But the problem is the only person who provides any kind of subtlety as to the magnitude, no pun intended, as to the nuclear explosion is Batman when he goes, "Whoa." I don't know what he says, but he says something like, "Oh my gosh." Whoa. No, but he says something like, "Oh my god." You know what I mean? There's no consequence. You just shot off a nuke. You know what I mean? Like, they called POTUS, like they had the guy stick the key in, they pulled it out, but it all happened in like, in movies when someone's going to shoot a nuke, they have the key in and they're like, Mr. President, we're ready. And he's like, do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, we just did that. They were like,
there was a pause and he said, fire at will. There's a brief pause.
No, not really, man. There's no dramatic. And then again, Superman gets hit. He looks like he's dead. I was like, oh.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, bold choice. You're going to kill off Superman with a nuke, and we did it. Like, that's a cool storyline. Like, we killed Superman. And then, no.
That'd be a horrible, stupid
No, I know, but at least it's something different, and at least something has consequence.
I know, but we know that this is leading into like a Justice League. The idea
and that's the problem.
Killing off any of your main characters is stupid. It's just stupid. Don't do that.
Then they should have killed off Martha, or they should have killed off Lois Lane. Those would have been interesting. You don't have to kill off anybody.
They'll kill off Lois Lane in a future movie, apparently.
No, but it's Well, again, I appreciate that storyline.
What they needed to do was make a light hero, a light villain that everyone had a reason to team up against, that wasn't Doomsday, that they could just gather together and fight, and then move on and start collecting this team, because they're gonna have Aquaman movie coming up, they're gonna have these Cyborg, they're gonna have Martian Manhunter at some point.
Flash.
You know what I mean? Flash, yeah, Arrow, like all these other people join and have, like just start it off fun.
Was there a reason
let's have fun.
Was there a reason why Wonder Woman was in this movie? Was she necessary at all, do you think?
No, I don't think so. It's just to show the Trinity. It's to show the three, the leaders of
those the main three?
Yeah.
Okay.
Pretty much. I mean, well,
yeah,
I don't know that Wonder Woman's any more,
but she's a founding member
as like Aquaman, but yeah.
Well, I think she's more known. Wonder Woman is by far more known by the general audience. They got to sell the next movie.
I think Wonder Woman is the next after Suicide Squad.
No, and here's the thing: Suicide Squad, at least tonally, has a really good chance because of how dark and brooding and non-fun this movie is. I hope that they embrace the fun of. I want an Ocean's 12 movie. It's a heist movie where we're rooting for the bad guys, but then the bad guys do stuff that's like, oh wait, they really are bad guys.
Shot the guy in the
like
face.
They shoot somebody, like in Ocean's 11 or Ocean's 12 or Ocean's 11, they'll have a thing where like someone's, like their plan gets kind of foiled and they have to act quick and do something, but they don't kill anybody. They do something very clever and they just get away. And this, she's gonna turn and just shoot the person and be like, yeah, they can't catch us. And like that's gonna be interesting. It's a different take, and it seems like from the trailer, the more and more I've seen the trailers, it seems like they're embracing the fun. Like just the song, picking the Queen song, is great. And then like at the end, like why are you breaking that? Like we gotta go fight. We're bad guys.
Too,
I like that. I want it to be heavy because this movie is so heavy-handed on the opposite scale.
Right.
Yeah, be campy, and I think that's the one thing that this movie actually might help Suicide Squad out about. Other than the fact that I think there is going to be some reservations from some people that now you have a fan base that's gonna. I think people will be upset, and I think at the same time people will be disinterested.
My thing is like Zack Snyder is heading this whole universe, like he said out front, like this is his universe, this is how he wants to do it. But after this movie, do you think they're going to be like, maybe you're not directing, maybe you're executive producing one, we will talk to you, but
perhaps
are you going to direct the next Batfleck already said that he's going to be directing his own, right?
Yep.
So like, is he going to direct the next Justice League movie?
They might have to think about it. I think they'll think about it. I mean, it's got to be something that gets brought up. Here's the thing about Zack Snyder. One of the biggest criticisms about Man of Steel is the just utter destruction of Metropolis, and it plays into this movie. But again, no consequences.
They're like they have utter destruction. Like it's an abandoned port, guys. We can go we can go ham here. It's okay. It's abandoned. No one's here.
No, but it's not even right, and that's fine. But it's still just like. Everything is an explosion. It's like Michael Bay's like
tanks, and I think you and I looked at each other like, why?
Like everything doesn't need to explode, and it's just like
just
every
a big
time
explosion on the screen, nothing else, just fire. It's just like this is stupid.
Yeah, and it's again, I just don't.
He might do a better job at a second Justice League movie though, because by then there'll be multiple single movies out, so things will make more sense. There will be more of an unfolded universe.
Yeah, but you're still going to have pacing problems.
I feel like we were just thrown into this, though. And like I said, I think from a comic perspective, it felt very comic book-like for the pacing and things like that. So I don't know. It might be easier to do a second one.
I don't know. I just think you have a lot of executives at Warner Brothers scratching their heads, like,
you know why this makes me mad on a bigger scale is. The DC animated movies are so good.
So good. Yeah.
So good.
But
fantastic.
They assume you know who the Justice League is.
But at the same time, I just watched the one Gods and Monsters where it's like a alternate universe where like all the bad guys are the good guys and they kill everybody and they do all and there's a big concern about them being like so powerful no one could stop them. It's a totally new brand new story, and they tell it in such an interesting and unique way, and it's. The pacing is good. There's pauses in the action. There's dialogue that is. You need to show. I get the scene with Clark Kent and Lois Lane in the tub. It's to show his human side. To show that he really is more human than he probably is alien.
You can't kick your shoes off.
What do you mean?
Do you want to know how much time to kick your shoes off? You got to get in the tub with all your clothes on.
Well, the first thing it's funny. The society today is like where it's I'm like. I hope he doesn't have a cell phone in his pocket because that's expensive. But or maybe he has a S Galaxy 7 or whatever, so it's waterproof.
3 meters.
So stupid. But it's just like I said. The next movies that they have coming out, the next one is going to be Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman. So Suicide Squad is this year, Wonder Woman, and then Justice League Part 1 is supposed to come out in 2017.
Oh, ready? Crap. I thought they were doing Aquaman in between that.
No, then it'll be The Flash, then it'll be Aquaman, then Shazam, and then Justice League Part 2, then Cyborg, then Green Lantern Corps.
So
That's
Green Lantern Corps is never going to happen. It's going to be
2020 is what
it'll be
it's slated
canceled
for.
before then. It'll be like Fantastic Four 2.
Yeah, I mean, it's in pre-production right now, Justice League Part 1. So, I mean, they probably already have storyboards. They probably already have a script or something going on.
They just need to learn that you don't have to take the storyboard right into the movie. Like, you can make a story that makes sense.
Yeah.
So Ben Affleck was considered to direct for the Justice League movie, it says, but they explained that they wanted to go with, I guess, Zack Snyder in this. I'm excited. I don't... It's weird. This movie feels like it wants to be a movie that doesn't explain a lot, but then explains everything point per point. Do you know what I mean? Like the parts
and then over-explain stuff.
Right. The parts that don't need explanation. If you're a comic book fan, get explained, and then the parts that
need explanation don't get explained.
Yeah, and even if you're a comic book fan, you're just, it's a distraction. Everything in this movie, there's so many WTF moments. Like, I swear to God, that part when he is the cyborg and the desert thing, it's just so, it's in the middle of like a good, we're doing it. Like we're going through the pacing of the movie. He's going to learn about the metahumans. We're going to get a cool teaser to all the other stuff they're going to do. And then the bigger conflict of, Lex Luthor knows all of them, but they don't know him. And, like, that's cool. Like, I like that the bad guy is one step ahead of everybody. Yeah. But then it's this, let's cut to this weird thing and just pull you out of the movie entirely. And I'm thinking, is this a flashback? Is this something in the future? And it's just...
And then the time traveling inception, by the time he wakes up and he starts clicking on stuff,
you're just
the
like,
audience
what?
is like, wait, what was that? Can we rewind or something? What the hell was that?
Didn't he wake up twice? Because he woke up from the desert.
Saw Cyborg.
Then he saw what we think is Cyborg.
What we think.
And...
I think it's Cyborg.
It's super weird.
Yeah, just weird choices.
But Cyborg doesn't come out until 2019. Why you gotta
he'll be in Justice League Part 1.
Yeah, I guess. Wait, I have a couple like technical questions maybe you guys can answer.
Sure.
The ship where the bad guy, why did I forget his name?
Zod.
Right, so that ship, where did that ship come from? Was that the original ship that crashed on?
Yeah, it's the one that he came in
on. Not the
on.
one that Zod came in on. Was it that one?
Well, they had multiple ships, remember? And so there was a thing that was terraforming, and then there was multiple ships that came out of that. So I think it was probably the ship that was... Well, here's actually what's interesting. That shot from the Indian Ocean, it's huge. That big chunk that's out in the middle of the ocean, that appears to be the terraforming.
Yeah.
But then the ship that's crash landed in New York appears to be kind of like the... Dreadnought or whatever you want to call it. Like
that was Zod's ship.
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so was it explained in Man of Steel that they have this archives of all of Kryptonite, Kryptonian?
That was explained.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
but again, it's like
that was sent with Clark Kent. Like he had.
Oh, it was Clark Kent's ship. Because the activator thing he took out, right?
That little thing.
The flash drive.
Zod took it from him, I think.
The flash
the
drive.
Flash drive.
The Kryptonian flash drive.
It had all their DNA built into it.
Yeah, I just don't like. Right. I don't like the idea that he's the first one to. It's been here for 2 years, and no one's thought to take the hand of the dude that ran the ship and just push
fingerprints.
No, just grab his dead body and put it on there. Like, and then the ship just immediately was like, I'm gonna do everything you have to say. Like, it's so simple. Everything is so, the bad guy gets everything they want in such an easy and effective way, and it actually cuts against, in my opinion, Lex Luthor's like genius, right? Like, he feels like it's just such a weird choice. He's this kind of sociopath, kind of off his rocker, billionaire who is obviously a genius because he's like doing procedures.
Very meticulous, right? Like he's always, like you said,
one step ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, and everything's for his benefit, but like this, it was just like, what was his, like I mentioned before, what was his plan after releasing Doomsday? It doesn't make any sense.
The other thing is, like, Doomsday really got injustice because he didn't even get, his power was not explained at all. About
it kind of was. He gets
stronger, yeah.
He adapts to the...
He shouldn't be able to die because every time you kill him, he comes back to life and you can't
kill him it's like the cell, he keeps coming back. Yeah. And they might bring him back. I mean, that's the thing about this movie is it's just, again, no consequences. It's just, nothing has, the whole thing about Superman, should he be Superman, really just doesn't get answered. I mean, that's still a big debate. Like, yeah, he saved the world, but he did that the first time. What was any different here?
Nothing.
And everyone's happy because now we have to
Batman was involved. He can do no wrong.
And the part with Batman of, I failed him, I'm like, dude, It's such a swing. It's such a swing.
That whole stuff, I'm telling you, that was pulled out of like the comic directly, like the death of Superman. I feel like they just had to include that because when someone came up with the idea, I know that we're gonna make Doomsday in this movie. Someone pulled out the Death of Superman comic book and started flipping through the pages, and those are the scenes
screenboarding those pages
where they're standing there outside of his thing. But the other thing is like. There's a huge Justice League at that point. Like, people are upset that Superman's died. It's not just freaking Batman and Wonder Woman sitting there. It's like everybody's
and again, it's just there's no pacing. He's like he tells her, "I love you." He tells Lois Lane, and you're like, okay, he's gonna go kill himself. But it's just like, that's it. Okay, bye. Like, it's not this moment of like, no, please don't. Like, is there anything else you can do? Try something. You're Superman. Do anything.
And pass it to
just
Batman.
Go to the sun really quick and then do it. Yeah,
no, I know, but I get that part. But I
thought he was going to hand the spear off.
Lois, you do it.
She threw it. I mean, just like,
there's a couple parts.
Hey, Wonder Woman, come get this. He can't carry that.
I'm carrying. I got him on my last. All right, Batman, come here. Shoot this out of your gun or something. Like, you throw it.
Here's another interesting part. Apparently, I mean, does Wonder Woman fly in this? I was actually asking that the whole time because I was like,
she just jumps far.
Well, she flies
she flies like towards him, like on the ground.
No, that's why she has an invisible jet.
She flies.
Can't fly. Why would you have an invisible jet if you can fly?
I thought she could fly. Maybe
she can fly in an invisible jet.
Toward Doomsday,
okay, well then that's kind of the same thing.
On the ground, it's not like she was running. She was just like
no, she was just.
What did you guys think of her? What did you? I mean, obviously they completely short shrift. Like, and I get it. They're going to make a movie of hers, but it's now
she's hot.
She's hot, but it's just.
I liked her costume.
I do.
Cool.
I actually thought
I really like her costume,
and I like the whole idea that she's been here forever, and she's like 100 years.
Well, that's the premise of the movie too. It's like in the 19-teens, I think. And then they had that really bad Photoshop picture of her and like Chris Pine and all that kind of stuff because he's in the movie. But I liked how her picture was completely not blurry, but Chris Pine and all the other characters were all blurry. It was so bad, so stupid.
But at the same time, I get what they were trying. There are moments in this movie I'm like, yeah, like the Batman fight scene when he goes in from the second level up and he like throws all the things on the guns that disable them and he jumps over the box and hits the thing and then throws the box.
That was the coolest part of the movie. The best fight scene was that.
Yeah. And it was
the Batman fight scene.
Yeah. And it was followed up. It was very impactful. And he's like, I'll kill her. And he's like, I believe you. Like, that's totally Batman. Like, Batman's not the guy that's like, okay, put your guns down. Because he realizes if I put my gun down, the guy's still going to kill her. And that's the thing about Superman. That kills me. And I get he's Boy Scout, but he immediately, there's no guarantee. You know, I hate hostage situations in superhero movies because the bad guy's always going to still kill the person. Don't do it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, and there's so many times in this movie I'm like, you're making that's no one would make that decision. No one. You know, at least Batman is grounded in like, I don't trust anybody. I think everyone's a piece of crap. Like, you know what I mean? Like, at least he has an understanding as to why he's so he doesn't trust anyone. You know what I mean? Superman, where he's like, I have your mom. The only way you can save your mom is if you go kill this guy, or you know what I mean? And it's just like,
I gotta do it. It's my mom.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
You got me.
Alrighty.
Yeah,
I'm Superman, but you got me. Yeah.
I like how we did like 2.5 minutes on positives and we've done like 45 minutes on negatives.
No, it's not a good movie. I don't know if they change, because again, I think this movie is going to, visually it's beautiful. If you don't read any of the dialogue, the movie is beautiful. Looks great. I mean, the visual effects are fantastic. The Batmobile looks cool. I like the Batmobile chase scene, other than the fact that I'm kind of turned off by the fact that he's just mowing down people.
Right.
Which is, again, distracting.
Gets that random, like, Dodge Charger for no reason, whipping it around, and then flips it on those other two cars, and then explodes.
Superman, the part where Superman rips it apart, and you're like, oh, there's face to face, and then Superman just like,
this is your warning.
Call this a warning. And it's just like, God, they're so stupid. Like,
you will.
They ruin everything.
No, and the part that was originally distracting to me, and again, if you want to make Batman this person who does kill now, explain it just very quickly. Be like, hey, you know, you don't need to. You can go back to doing what you know, or something. You know,
do a movie. Just do it before.
No. But
you have the Robin thing. I'll just do a movie.
Everything would be fine if it was done in reverse order, and I think they're going to do a lot of these movies are all going to be like prequels.
Is this going to be like how you should watch the Star Wars movies? Like, watch all these movies and then
chronologically.
What is it called? It was called something. They called it. Remember the machete cut of Star Wars? There'll be a machete cut of the DC universe.
It'll make total more sense.
Because it would be interesting for him and the Batman and Robin telling Robin, don't, you know, because if it is Jason Todd was struggled with that. He always wanted to, you know, kill the person, and he's like, why? He's a piece of crap. I should kill him. Doing everybody a favor. And Batman's like
Punisher.
No. Right. And then from there, Jason Todd gets killed or whatever, and then he's like, he's right. And that's because here's the first part. Batman in that car chase scene, because that's really kind of the first like part you see of Batman doing stuff, like heavy action. He runs into that car, which I'm like, maybe they lived.
Yeah, right.
Right, that's fine.
I'll explosion.
I'll extend reality that the car flipped over, but then he cable tows it and then drags it while it's flipping over. I'm like, yeah, those people are dead. Like they're dead.
I think
dead.
I looked at you and you were like, and then you mentioned kind of like they kind of he has to kill people now.
Well, I'm like, it's just one of those things where, again, if you're not a comic book fan, I don't know if it's a big distraction, but from a comic book fan, I'm like, wow, you didn't really give me any motivation as to why he doesn't have that role anymore, and now it just feels like you just randomly, unilaterally made a choice. And
I feel like everyone knows that about Batman. He doesn't kill. Everyone knows that.
I mean, that's the whole thing.
So if he's going to, that's cool, but that should be a big moment. It should be explained.
Right. There's, again, lack of consequence. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I know we're going late. You're over there yawning.
Yeah,
Didn't you get enough sleep in this movie?
Yeah, that's true. I did just take a little nap.
The movie was 4.5 hours long. You think you can at least have that?
All right, so that's our spoiler review, unfortunately, of the Batman versus Superman.
There'll be more of these. They can only get better, I guess.
I hope so.
Right?
Okay.
I'll still go watch the other ones. I just love superheroes.
I just don't think they can get any worse. Like, they're going to be like, listen, guys, we can't do this again.
Well, here's the deal. If you get two that are bad, I think that they won't keep doing them.
We have 32 movies we got slated out, man.
Because I don't think DC characters have, I mean, some of them do, but have the following and the appeal of Marvel characters.
Now, they used to.
The problem with that theory, though, is Guardians of the Galaxy proves you wrong. If you make a good movie, it doesn't matter. That's my point. Is like, the understanding of the character, because look at Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man 2. Everyone loves Spider-Man, and that movie was terrible and didn't do well. So a character can carry you. It's a plus or minus, right? But I think at the same time, a good movie is a good movie.
But I'm just saying, if you make it bad movies,
with unknown characters,
no one's going to go see Aquaman because Wonder Woman that you knew sucked, Superman that you knew sucked. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not going to go see Cyborg.
It's going to hurt the DC universe.
Who's going to
go
see
down?
Cyborg? Honestly, who would see that?
That's what I said. The next one. What's next? You said Suicide Squad. That one has to be good, but Wonder Woman is the next one that really has to be a good movie.
I don't know if I don't think these have to be good movies because, again, remember, I mean,
people are going to go in the Justice League Part 1 thinking about this movie and being like, I don't know if I really want to see that. I think I'll just wait for the Blu-ray this time.
Right.
Yeah,
unless Wonder Woman is really good
in that grouping.
Yeah,
just wait. Just
wait it out.
Especially if I know I've got Doctor Strange coming up, or I know that.
I know.
You know what I mean? Other movies
Marvel
that
ones.
Actually matter,
and you know.
Well, I didn't see Amazing Spider-Man 2. I'm a huge Spider-Man nut, I didn't see it in theaters because. I didn't see it in theaters. That's my point.
I didn't see either of the Amazing Spider-Mans.
The first one's good.
Yeah.
First one's okay.
I watched them both, but I didn't think either of them were.
All right,
good.
So speaking of a bunch of superheroes, let's hit on. You wanted to talk about a couple other things now. Let's get this bad taste out of our mouth. Let's talk about some other superhero stuff. You had something you wanted to talk about. Daredevil.